welcome to the show. I'm Jenna Morton.
And I'm Tosh Taylor. And in the studio with us today, we have an amazing local business. Someone that I discovered, we've talked about my shoulder issues like a million times on the show.
We have talked about your body so many times.
So many times.
I'm so glad you discovered people to help you.
I finally found someone to help me. So I thought it's time to bring them in here so other people can be helped as well. So joining us on the show today to talk about osteopathic medicine is Sylvain Mancuso, who owns Mancuso Therapy here in the Greater Moncton area, St. John, and soon to be Fredericton.
Yeah, I hope to.
Yeah.
It's always challenging to grow, but we hope to open Fredericton soon.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we try.
When did you start the business you started here in Moncton?
Yeah, I arrived 11 years ago now. I come from France. At the beginning, we just beginning in Dieppe, just rent a room and grow slowly. And we just begin to expand in St. John last year. We already expand before in Florenceville.
Oh, yeah.
The idea is to bring osteopathy care to small community because often they don't have too many things, and if we want to help people, it's trying to move around. And now we are in St. John, still trying to grow, and the next step will be Fredericton. We really want to try to bring osteopathy all around New Brunswick to try to help more people.
Fantastic.
So, like you said, you came from France 11 years ago, and you worked as a physical therapist in France before you moved here. And then you expanded to what you're doing now. So how about you tell us about that transition?
Okay, I did my physiotherapy study in France and begin to work as a physiotherapist, seeing patient and all that. And one day I had a patient came for a sciatica pain. And I was very new in the field, and I opened the book at sciatica pain in physiotherapy, and I tried everything. I think she was my guinea pig for many things, And after 5-6 sessions, no big result. She's feeling better, but 1-2 days coming back, and it's when you do this type of work, physio, chiro, massage, osteo, you really want to improve the life of your patient, And I was turning around and doesn't find anything. And I begin to talk with the owner of the clinic where I was working. And I said, okay, I'm stuck. What can I do, And she said, okay, can you just send me the patient and I will see what's going on, And she saw the patient 2 times and the pain was gone. And I said, okay, maybe I missed something, And I don't know if it's with my Italian arrogant side or I don't know, but to say I need to find a way to help more patients, And I talked to her and she said, okay, this patient had an ankle injury 2 years ago and she was limping and the back was just the visible part of the iceberg. The back was trying to do the job of the ankle. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, where can I learn that, And she said, do your osteopathy study. And I was not ready to jump again for 5 years. I did a few manual therapy course to try to improve my manual therapy technique. And after 2 years, I had better results, but the mechanic side was not enough, just manipulation. Sometimes it's not enough. And I talked with one of my teachers and he said, if you really want to go to the next step, try osteopathy. And I jumped on the 5 years course in France. But it was a part-time with, I was physio, had my own clinic, and at the same time I was going to school. Was very interesting because I can use the technique I learned directly to really try to change my way to work and bring me to the osteopathy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things when I started going to your clinic here in Moncton, first of all, when you say osteopathy, people don't know what it is.
No,
they
I know.
don't.
It's one of the biggest struggles we have. Yeah.
And I know that it has helped me immensely. And people go, well, what did they do? I don't know. I honestly don't know what you did, but it worked. So that's why I wanted to bring you on today, because you did tell me one time we had a meeting and you told me that like osteopathic medicine is something that was created in North America.
Yeah, right. It was Andrew Taylor Steele. It was a physician in the 80s. I think he began the school in Curtsville, Iowa. I think I just need to check that. Yeah, I think Curtsville, Iowa, and it's still there now. And start osteopathy school there because he was trying to find a way to help more on the root cause of the issue. You know, sometimes, as I say, the symptom is just the visible part of the iceberg, you know, because you can have a knee or an ankle flaring up because there is something else going around. And he was really in this field to try to understand why he has an issue. And he began to do his thesis about how he can help people with only manual technique, with no medication, you know, just no drugs, anything. Just try to help the body to heal by himself, you know. And it was in the 1880, and the first batch of therapists was in 1892, I think,
wow.
something like that. And it was in US. And after few other school of osteopathy was beginning in US, some physician from UK came to US to learn osteopathy, came back to UK, create, I think now there is only 5 or 6 schools in UK. And after a few physicians from France came to UK to learn, and they opened some school in France. And after some French people came to Canada and began some school in Canada. It's true. I never understood why.
Yeah.
It was just you know, the border is there. You just go there, you know, and they just do all around. Maybe it's the way to learn more things, you know. And yeah, Andrew Taylor Steele was really to try to understand the patient as a whole, you know. It's not only the physical side, is how the mindset of the patient can completely change, you know, how he's going to react outside information and can have some pain. One of the other principles that Andrew Taylor Steele was pushing on was structure govern function. If I can draw something.
Yes, please do.
The idea is if we take a elbow, okay, that's the arm, I know.
Looks like an arm
That's
to
the
me.
elbow, okay? And we have some muscle around. We can draw that in red there. We have some muscle around and here, there. If the structure of the elbow doesn't work correctly, here is going to impact the muscle, you know. But when the muscle is impacted, it's going to reduce the function of the elbow because it's going to reduce the range of motion. And at the same time, all this information are going in the sympathetic system with a neurological system, and it's going to switch everything in the area. And for example, you can have some elbow issue, which is going to give you some upper back issue or shoulder issue, because it's just a relation between the mechanic side, but at the same time, the neurological side that's going to change all the neurological system. And Andrew Taylor Steele was really, okay, if we want to have a good function, we need to be sure that the structure is working correctly, was one of his principles he pushed on. And another one was all the fluid needs to flow correctly, you know. If we talk again about the muscle, it needs blood, and if the blood doesn't go correctly to the muscle can't work correctly. And it's why it's very important to have a good blood flow going to the muscle. And it's why when we see a patient, for example, for upper back or shoulder issue, we are going to work on the spine because on the spine, okay, that's the head, okay, there, that's the shoulder. You can see that.
Yes,
okay?
it's perfect.
And that is the hip. I know. I had a very bad note in my graduation in drawing. And all around the spine, we have all the nervous system who control the blood flow. And it's why when you have a shoulder issue or a elbow issue, we really need to check what's going on in the upper back, because that's the way the blood flow is going to the area. And it's why when you see a therapy or an osteopath for anything, okay, we are going to look about the issue, you know, if you come for the shoulder, for the elbow, but we are going to look about the wrist, that's the hand, okay, about the wrist on the mechanic side, about the shoulder on the mechanic side, but at the same time, we need to check about the spine if everything is moving, because every limitation of mobility on your spine is going to change the blood flow in the area. And the last things, the idea of Untitled Still was not, we are not there to heal patient, we are just here to facilitate the self-healing of the patient. When we check the structure, everything is in line, normally the body is going to self-regulate it himself, and from that we are going to be sure that the patient is going to feel better. It's why we don't see patient too often in osteopathy. You know, we see the patient maybe 2-3 times at the beginning on a 2-3 weeks gap between the session, because we need to let the body to do its job. Mm-hmm. If I see the patient every 2 times a week, the body doesn't have the time to self-regulate it, and we don't know if we are working on the right things, because we're always pushing on the same, you know? Mm-hmm. And the job of the osteopath is not treating the patient, is just helping the patient to feel better and heal by himself, you know? Because if I can do another drawing.
That is a fancy board, isn't it?
It is. I feel very, very posh and very professional with such a board in the room. There's so many things we could do with this.
I really like these things. And the same things if I talk about my patient, the one I miss, you know, she had back pain. But my colleague work on the ankle, and when she work on the ankle, that's the knee, the system begin to move again. And we need to let the system to take the time to be mobile again. Often when I see a patient, the first things I do, I'm checking how he's walking, because it's the best way to see how he's moving, you know? You don't touch the patient, and you can just see how he's going to walk, how he's going to balance, because we are in 2D, but the system is in 3 dimension, you know, when you see all the spine, how the posture is, because the same things, the posture is going to change how the muscle move, you know? If the psoas is a big muscle in the hip area, is the hip flexor, but if your posture is bad, that's the neck there, like that, and the psoas is here and going to the leg, there, that's the leg. And if the posture is bad, this muscle is going to reduce its length, and it's going to change all the system. And it's why we work in a wall to try to understand all the things together to be sure that we help the patient on the long run.
Okay.
It must be fascinating for you just to like watch people walk by
and
try to like not constantly be like, oh, I can see this is, you need to do that.
I could send business card all the time. When I was doing the gait analysis is one of the things I really like, because it's something that you really can see how the patient is moving, you know? And at the same time, you can see a little bit of the mindset. Because, as I said, osteopathy is a whole, and we think about helping the patient to step up about his mindset too, because many people think, I'm in pain, I can't do anything, and just try to bring them back. And when someone is walking depressed, it's like that, you know, and all the posture is going to change, you know. But if we look just about the body is not going to be enough because, okay, we realign things, but his mindset is still like that, and we really try to help the patient in a wall to try to help him say, okay, now you can move, now you can do things, because when we treat a patient, for example, we always give some exercise to do because our job is to give more mobility and their job is to use, if you go to the osteopath and stay the next 2 hours in a couch and wait, it's not going to help too much, But yeah, I really like, when I was physio, I was just sitting, I did my physiotherapy study in Paris, and I was just sitting at a coffee and watching people walking, I think maybe people think I was weird, but I really like that.
So if you see Sylvain doing this now, now you know why.
No worry, I'm just sitting down my coffee and watching people. Yeah.
I think it's fascinating when you're standing here and explaining, of course the ankle impacts the knee, impacts the back. It seems so simple, and yet for so long, most of us, most health practitioners haven't been looking at it this way.
Like in a whole body form.
Yeah, but because often we are very focused on outcome oriented. And a patient come, I have back pain, okay, let's go to work on the back. The idea is the patient needs to leave the session with no back pain. But if you see in the big picture, what you really want, that the patient will not come back for a back pain. And it's why, and I did the same for years, I was really focusing on the outcome. The patient come, I have back pain, okay, let's go work on the back pain. I have ankle pain, let's go to work on the ankle. But taking the idea of, okay, you have that, but we really need to know why you have this issue, and not every patient will like that, they like fast results. Many people want the magic pill, and our way to act, sometimes, as you said, what he's doing, what he's putting his hand there, I have pain here, he's working on the other side. And often it's some patient will just say, okay, no, it's not for me, I really want to have my magic pills and it will be done. And I think it's why so many therapists are just trying to help patients, but they can't, or they don't have this way to think, okay, you have back pain, but it's not the back. Because I just talk about the structure, but all the visceral system, all the fascia with the insertion of the viscera on the spine can pull, on the system too.
So let's talk about someone going in for a session and what can they experience? Because like I said, I definitely walked out of there the first time. His name's Hashim, right? Am I right about that?
Isham.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I literally walked out of there and went, okay, I don't think he did anything. And then 2 days later, I was like, oh my God, I feel so good. But like you said, I wasn't expecting him to work on my lower back. I wasn't expecting him to be checking the way I was walking, if I could bend over and touch my toes or anything like that. So how do you, I guess my question really is like, when you're going in and you're literally putting your hands everywhere, but it really just felt like he wasn't actually touching anything. He was kind of just more feeling. Like, how do you get that?
The idea is just to feel how the things move and just give them a good range of motion, And if we talk again about the elbow, when you look at the elbow, it's just flex and extend, But the idea is a lot of micro movement inside the elbow. When I'm doing that, all my system is gliding, opening, and it's this type of small movement which is going to affect all the mobility of the system. And it's why when he's walking, he's just trying to find which small movement doesn't work or is not there to help the global movement. Because I can take, I have patient coming and we work on the, there, maybe like that's okay. We work on, I was working just, he can't bend, and I had a patient recently, he can't bend his elbow, and he did some therapy and it was the same issue, and the flexion was not an issue, it was the opening and closing of the elbow, Can I?
Sure.
Yeah. When you see that, you can feel that there is a movement there, and if this movement is not there, you can
You can't do that.
you can move, because it's completely restricted. And at the end, when you come to see the therapist, you say, okay, I can bend. Okay, I'm going to help you to bend. But the idea is really the micro movement. And what Isham, or what we do, it's really check this micro movement. So, okay, that's not moving. And all the fascia needs to work, because the muscle, there is the muscle, the skin, the fascia, all that together, and they need to slide together. And it's really very soft technique, but as you said, 2 days after, so, oh my gosh, he did something.
Yeah, something happened. Yeah, it's like literally something moved. Yeah, it was a remarkable experience. And I wanted to talk a bit too, because a friend of mine has been going for anxiety, which I think like right now, everybody in the world needs a little bit of help. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how, when that's not a physical impairment that people can see, how do you work with that?
I can, because I have other schooling on the side, and I could explain with more a triad, about physiology, focus, and meaning, And when you are in anxiety, you are in a certain triad. And if we can break the physiology triad, is going to the physiology side of the triad is going to change your anxiety, because we are more mechanic people. But if we can try, as I said, someone depressed like that, we can help the system, but the depression is still there. But at the same time, when we begin to break the physiology, is going to help the mood. It's why Andrew Still was thinking about in a whole, because we work on the physiological side, but at the same time, it's helping all the system. And I think in osteopathy is really that we help the patient to feel better, and it's just breaking the vicious circle. I'm anxious, I'm not feeling well, and we really try to help the patient. Not only we do physical things, but our way to see the patient is really in a global way.
Interesting. There's so many different aspects to it that I want to send to everybody I know. I just especially now, knowing that you can work on so many different levels as well. There was some things that were done in my appointment. There was a little bit of he did definitely crack my neck. So there was a little bit of chiropractor in with it as well. Is that what you would call that?
Yeah, because as I say, some mobilization needs to be done. We don't manipulate all the time, but when there is things stuck, we need to move them. We can use soft technique or technique a little bit more fast.
Okay. All right. So if people are they expect a little bit of that too, if you need it when you go in.
Yeah, we always ask. The idea is, and more the neck, because maybe people are a little bit nervous about that.
Yeah.
Me. 100% when I'm doing it. No, I'm teasing.
Yeah.
Really, we ask the patient what is ready to handle, and we try to adapt the technique. Some people say, I don't want to have any cracks in a program. We can use our technique.
So if after listening and watching all of this, someone's ready to come see you or your staff, how do they find you?
We have a website, mancuso.osteopathy.com, and they can book online directly, and it's the best way to reach us.
Perfect. Excellent. So we'll make sure that's in the show notes if you're looking for the website. And yeah, and its offices in Moncton,
St. John, and
coming soon, Fredericton.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, get your name in there. Let them know you're coming.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been super eye-opening, and I hope that a lot of people realize that maybe, especially if they think they're stuck, quite literally, to try something new.
There is other osteopath in Moncton and St. John too. There is one in Fredericton. There is other. We have an association, very active to try to develop osteopathy with a high level of care. The idea is really that, to try to have a safety for the public. And if people are not in Moncton or they want to see someone else, we have other osteopaths. They can go on aonb.com, I think.
Okay, we'll find that too, don't worry.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.